Welcome to the Purpose-Driven Mom Show, episode 377. Today you get a sneak peek into one of my new programs, the Mompreneur Roadmap. I'm actually going to be turning this into a course in the new year, which is going to be very exciting. And I'm talking about how do you know what to learn in your business when you're a new business owner. I think a lot of times we're just told, like, make some goals, figure it out. But if you don't even know what you're supposed to work on, how are you supposed to make any goals? So this video is going to come directly from the program, so super sneak peek for you. And you'll get to hear me talk to the students in the program about how do you figure out what to learn when it comes to cold market marketing. That's how do you attract new people, how do you grow your business. And for new business owners who are like, I don't have a product to sell, I don't have clients to nurture, but I do need to get people in my realm, I need to get their email addresses. I want you to pay attention to this episode. I want you to go through and ask yourself, what do I want to learn? And now that we've got a couple months left in the year, do you want to learn any of these in November, December, right? Do you want to create a learning plan around them? And then you'll have some context of, now I know which courses I need to find or podcasts I need to listen to. Show notes for this are at purposedrivenmom.com/podcast 377. And I'm curious to know, what are you going to learn? Do you make a learning plan for yourself? This is something we teach in all of my programs. And I hope this gives you some insight. If you're ever sitting there like, I don't even know what I don't know. Enjoy this episode. Show notes again at purposedrivenmom.com/podcast 377. All right. So here's the big question in the learn phase. What do you need to learn, right? Where are you struggling? Where are you like, I have some idea, I have a vision for this for my business. In the beginning of your business, you're probably not going to know a lot, and that is okay. But as you get through, you're going to start to make different goals. And every time you do like a different learn month, you might want to ask yourself like, hey, where do I need to give myself some more supports? Where do I need to learn a little bit more? So in this section, we're going to go through the departments of your business. Now, I recommend you look at these departments and you start turning them into SOPs, which is what we'll do in the plan phase. You start thinking, how can I make sure I have a path for each of these? You do not need to have every piece that I'm going to talk about in your business. But in the beginning, you're going to want to have something from each department. There are three main departments that I think of when I think of growing a business: marketing, sales, and fulfillment. Now, if you were to look at this, I want you to ask yourself, which one do I think is the most important, right? A lot of times people say sales, right? Like, I need to make money. Sales is the most important. I'm going to challenge you that I think fulfillment is the most important, because if your customers have a great customer experience, they're going to tell their friends. They're going to tell other people, right? They're going to shout it from the rooftops. But if you are not fulfilling on that customer experience, then it's going to be a lot harder to get people in. But the thing is, you have to have strategies in marketing, sales, and fulfillment. So when you're thinking about your next 90 days, which we'll talk about goals in the next section after we go through these, in the next 90 days, you're probably going to want to have a learn for marketing, sales, fulfillment. So that's kind of the way I do it in my business. I don't try to learn everything at once. I might say month 1, I'm going to pick a marketing learn. Month 2, I'm going to pick a sales learn. And month 3, I'll pick a fulfillment. And then I go back. Month 4, marketing, sales, fulfillment. This way, I'm constantly learning in different departments of my building, of my business, but I am also just making sure that I have a vision for what I want to do, okay? You don't want to stay stuck in, I'm only learning this, I'm only going to learn how I get people to watch my TikTok, right? That's great, but that's not a holistic business, right? That's not looking at everything really broken down. So what I'm going to go over with you now is the marketing in the cold market. There's two different types of marketing, right? Cold market is, how do you attract new people? That's your department of growth, right? Warm market is, I have these new people. How do I have a good experience for them? How do I enhance what they're doing so that the fulfillment piece is easier? Does that make sense? So in this specific video, I'm going to talk to you about marketing with cold audience. And what I want you to do is, inside your workbook is all of these departments. I want you to grab 3 different highlighters. And what you're going to do with your highlighters is you're going to highlight your level of knowledge for each of these, okay? You're going to ask yourself, do I know nothing about this? That's one color. Do I know a little bit? Like, I kind of have an idea how people do podcasts, but like, I don't know all the steps. Or is this something you're like, yeah, I have a pretty good strategy, we're already moving and grooving? Now, for most people that come to the program, you're new business owners, you might not have any strategy. So don't fault yourself if you notice that you have absolutely nothing highlighted with the I know this. And it's not I know this perfectly. It's I know enough to have a strategy. That's what's important. What I did for the first 2 years of my business was throw spaghetti at a wall. I had no strategy. I was like, what are we doing? I was flittering here and here because I felt like I just had to learn everything. And then I went into places and times in my business where I just went into learning paralysis. I just took course after course after course. And in doing that, I wasn't moving forward. Now, the Dream, Learn, Plan, Do that we teach in the Mompreneur Roadmap is all about moving forward, but strategically and with a focus in mind. All right. So 2 things mindset-wise before we go in. Don't beat yourself up if you're like, I don't know anything. There is still time 6 years in. I was talking to a friend about something yesterday. It was like tax related, I think. And I was like, oh, I hate these like adult feeling business problems that make me feel like a beginner. Because I'm like, I feel like I should know this. And we always have a phrase in our community, stop shoulding on yourself, right? You don't need to know any of this right now. If you are just starting, there is zero expectation that you know it. So stop feeling like you have to be an expert in everything online marketing. I didn't go to college for business, online marketing. I'm learning as I go. 6 years in, I still learn something new every single time I do something. And it's okay. When you go in with a mindset of, I'm going to be a learner, I am going to go and learn things in my business, I am open to being a student, I think that's when you have the most success. Okay, so I just want to say that before we start. Stop beating yourself up over what you don't know how to do and just go in right now and say, okay, do I have a strategy for this? Okay. And what we're going to do in the next section is we're going to take this and we're going to say, based on what I don't know, now I'm going to make some goals around what makes sense for my business. But in this video in particular, I just want to do an overview, right? Like I really just want to give you a big old overview of the entire section so that you know how to make goals. I think a lot of times people tell you, go make a goal in your business. But if you don't know what you don't know, like if you have no context, how do you know what a good goal is? You know, I find this a lot. I was sharing with someone, I'm a Girl Scout leader, and I was sharing with a new leader the other day about stuff. And she was like, oh my gosh, thank you for showing me. And I said, you know what? It's because I didn't know what I was doing in the beginning. I had no idea. So how was I supposed to know how many boxes of gluten-free cookies I needed to order? I didn't have any context. It's the same with your business. If you don't have any context of what a business structure should look like, if you have no context of how you should set up your department of growth and client success, like what we're going to talk about in the program, how are you supposed to make goals? So I want you to look at this as your precursor to goal setting, is identifying in your business what you want and what you need so that you can make appropriate goals. So let's jump into, in this video in particular, into cold market strategies. And remember, cold market, you think growth. Anything that is going to bring new people into my business. And while I don't think that's the most important part of your business, you need to have some learning around it, okay? So now we're gonna talk about awareness. This is people know that you're out there, they can find you, they can follow you, and they move into the awareness stage. That's the first stage you're gonna get your new customer at, is awareness, right? They are like, all right, I think I like you. I heard your podcast. I saw you speak at a summit. I read your blog. Do I want to give you my email? Do I want to pay you for anything? Do I want to download your episode? Do I want that freebie? Okay. So I want you to go through and highlight which of these, again, do you have like an understanding of in whatever your liker it is, 1, 2, or 3, right? I know it all, I don't know anything, or I know a little, or I know nothing, right? Like, where are you at with this? So here are some ways you could bring people to find you. And while you're thinking, I also want you to take some notes, like, what would I like it to look like for me if I was to do this? Because that's going to help you figure out your learning. And what do I not want to do, right? I don't write a blog anymore. I don't like doing it. I don't want to. I used to like writing my blog. I'm allowed to change my mind, okay? So what stands out to you? And again, this is also based on your dream. In your dream phase, you did market research. You talked to your people. So you know if your people like YouTube over a blog, right? You know which one makes the most sense. So we go into this phase not completely blind. We're not in the learn phase being like, I'm just going to learn everything. We're saying, hey, based on the vision that I did in dream, based on the vision that I already created, the people I talked to, the research I did, now I can make a strategic plan, intentional, right? So one, podcast, right? I love podcasting. I think podcasting is one of the best ways to have people find you. Why? Well, podcasting is a free way that you can connect with people, right? So if they can't afford your stuff, they can come into your network there and know if they like you. This is where it feels familiar. I think podcasting is even more familiar than email marketing sometimes, because email marketing is like very personal in an inbox.
I have people like who listen to my podcast or who I've listened to their podcast and they're like, I felt like we were sitting across from each other having a cup of coffee, right? That's the feel you want for your podcast. Again, you might want your podcast to feel a little bit more formal or different, but for me, I look at a podcast as like, it's just, I'm hanging out with my friend, we're talking about a thing, short and sweet, but they get to know me. They hear my voice, they can hear my inflection. And also, this is where people decide if they want to pay more. I will listen to people podcasts, and if I listen to one and oh my gosh, I really wanted to learn from her, but she was so boring. Like the way that she was teaching in the podcast, I was like, nope, not for me. It allowed me to kind of opt out and be like, yeah, I don't think I want her course and put money on that because I think I'm not going to want to learn from her that way. I have people all the time who are like, go drink a decaf coffee. I just had somebody comment on my Facebook thing. I had somebody who left a review that was like, you talk too fast or, okay, you don't want to learn from me then. That's okay. That's okay with me. You know what I mean? So if you want to have people come in, I like podcasting. Other ways and reasons that you might want to learn a little podcasting. We put our podcast now on YouTube, but you don't have to do that. You could show up however you want to look. You could record in short spurts. You can do it at 11 p.m. after the kids go to bed in a closet, right? Podcasting is a really great way if you aren't feeling camera ready or nervous about being on a camera to do that, okay? So do you want to add podcasting to your learning plan? If so, give it a highlight. Do you know anything a little bit where you're at? A blog is so popular right now. Blogging is not dead. People will say it. I search blogs all the time, right? I want a recipe. I'm looking for a craft for my kid. There is a market for blogs out there because some people can't listen to a podcast. Some people are reading your blog while they're breastfeeding their baby in the middle of the night, or they want to get your content while they're at work trying to learn how to do their side hustle, but they can't listen to a podcast but they can have a tab up on the computer. So what about you? Do you want to do some blog learning? Do you need to learn how to either start your blog? Do you know about things like SEO and how to get people to your blog? Do you know how to do market research in the area and use trends? Do you know what you want to write about? Think about your learning plan and ask yourself, is a blog something I want to learn about? And at what level? You also could do a YouTube channel. Again, these are cold market strategies. How do you bring people in? We just started putting our podcast on YouTube, which is cool. We did it for accessibility reasons. We wanted people who weren't able to listen to a podcast to be able to watch it with the captions. But we also realized there's some stuff I teach visually that would be really cool. And there are people who prefer to watch podcasts on YouTube. Now, I'm not doing any YouTube things. Like I'm trying to not be a YouTuber. I'm trying to be someone who puts their podcast on YouTube right now. But maybe you want to have more of a YouTube video angle. Maybe that's how you want to reach your people. Maybe you are in a very visual business and you're like, yes, I have talked to people. They said one thing they tried before was listening to podcasts, but they prefer to watch. Great. You should do a YouTube channel. Now, how much do you know? How much do you need to learn? Highlight it. Now, you could also do Instagram. This is a way that you can bring people in. TikTok, any sort of social media would kind of qualify here. How are you bringing people in? We talked in the dream phase how you need a evergreen strategy, which is like something that kind of lives all the time. That's like the podcast, the blog, the YouTube channel. And we also talked how you need a short-term cold market strategy. That's how are you bringing people in on the daily. You need a social media. And I say this as someone who cannot stand being on social media. And I struggle with this because I'm like, oh my gosh, I really don't want to do anything. I don't even want to log into it. I have a lot of resistance towards it. But I do think you need to have a presence on a social media channel. So what social media? I didn't put Facebook on here, but Facebook, Twitter, Threads, whatever you want to do, right? What are you going to be doing? And if you need strategy for it, highlight it. Could that be something you put into your learning? Now, the other piece of cold marketing in the awareness is visibility. I wish I had had a visibility plan from the start. Probably year 3, we made a very strong visibility plan. And then after my book came out in 2021, I don't even know anymore. 2022, when my book came out, this was big. Now, I recommend in the beginning, you might be like, hey, I'm not ready to start my own podcast, but can you be a guest on somebody's podcast? It's such a great way of harnessing into another person's pre-existing audience, right? So do you need to learn about how to podcast pitch? Do you need to learn some PR, things like that? Summits are a fabulous way. Now, depending on the summit, it may or may not be worth it for you. The first year of our visibility plan, I said yes to everything. Year 2, I started to only say yes to things that had affiliate commissions tied to it, not just like for exposure, just because of where my business had grown. I didn't need that part of it. It was a mix for me. And now year 3 of a visibility plan, I don't say yes to a lot of things. And it's just because it needs to really align in my promo calendar. I say less to yes. But in the beginning, you say yes. Be in summits, speak. Why? It allows you to get really good at your topic. It also allows you to get in front of your target audience, right? So be in front of that audience. Other things here, bundles. If you can get your product, so I know a lot of you are new owners, but say you have an ebook or a mini course. If you could get a product into a bundle, that's a great way to expose yourself to new people and get in front of your audience. I was in the Ultimate Bundle. That's one of my favorite affiliate platforms that I use. I do a lot of stuff with Ultimate Bundles. My first year in 2019, I had bought a bundle in 2018. So no, I started my business in November 5th. And then in 2018, I became an affiliate for Ultimate Bundles. And we'll talk about affiliate marketing later. But I bought a bundle and I was like, my goal is that I'm going to be in a bundle. Like that was my goal. And so my goal that one year was like, my goal is just to sell 5. Because if you sold 5, they gave you a free bundle. So I was like, I'm going to sell 5 of the homemaking and the productivity, all those bundles. So then in 2020, my mini course, which isn't available now, Design Your Day, was in the bundle. And it was the most downloaded thing in the entire bundle. And I got thousands of people on my email list. It grew my list so much, and it really was the catalyst for me for my business picking up, because I got all of a sudden all these people on my email list that were my target audience. So can you be in bundles? If you don't know about this strategy, highlight it right now. This is a strategy you're going to want to work on and you're going to want to learn in maybe your 30, 60, 90-day goals. And then email swaps or affiliate marketing. So this is ways to get new people in. A really cool strategy you could do if you have a friend that's like got their business, I would say at the same level as you. Yes, you could do it with somebody who's like ahead of you, but you want it to be a mutually exclusive relationship. No, that's the wrong word. You want it to mutually beneficial. I was like, not exclusive, a mutually beneficial relationship where you say, hey, I have this freebie. Could you send it to my audience? And I'll send your freebie to my audience. Now, if you have 50 people on your email list and you approach me with that, I have 25,000 people on my email list. I might not do that, right? Because I'm not going to get as much out of it as you would. And while I want to help you out, you want it to be beneficial for both parties. So you find somebody that's like at the same level and you swap, okay? Or working with affiliates, doing JV, joint venture webinars, things like that. And I know I just said a lot of jargon, right? I said a lot of business jargon, and you're like, hey, Cara, I'm new in business. I don't even know. This is why we do a learn plan, because you don't know what you even need to learn. So what I just did was I went over a bunch of strategies you could use that you might have never heard of. And if you've never heard of them and you want to use them in your 30, 60, 90-day learn plan, perfect. Highlight it, because when we go to make your plan, now you have some ideas. Instead of us just sitting down and me being like, what do you want to learn this month? Now it's, I've got some ideas and I know what to do. In the next video, I'm going to now go over the next part, which is the warm market. Once you get people in, how you create plans around facilitating community, getting more sales, and things like that. But this is important. You need a strategy for cold market. And if you don't have one of these, I would start here, right? Especially if you're starting in your business, right? Because you don't have customers to fulfill to, right? You don't have a product to sell. But what you can do is get people on your email list. That's always the goal. I want you to think about this. You need to learn a strategy that's going to get people on your email list, because you can sell in your email list. Social media is not owned by you. Your email list is. So all of these cold market strategies, where do they lead? They lead back to your email list. And that is the goal. I'll see you in the next video. We're going to talk a little bit about your warm market and how you can think about what you want to learn there.